What's going on, y'all? Welcome to What It Is World. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. Facebook removes Egyptian accounts targeting Turkey, Sudan, and Ethiopia. TRT World reports. So we'll go ahead and read the article and I'll give you some of my thoughts on this. So Facebook has removed several Egypt-based accounts from its social media platforms that targeted Turkey, Sudan, and Ethiopia, according to the company's latest report on deceptive campaigns. The social media giant reported in its coordinated inauthentic behavior for March. I guess that's a list that they publish maybe on a monthly basis about, basically coordinated inauthentic behaviors. Published on 6 April that it removed 14 networks suspected of spreading misinformation, including accounts originating from Iran and Israel. 5 networks from Albania, Iran, Spain, Argentina, and Egypt targeted primarily people outside of their countries. Facebook said 9 others from Israel, Benin, Comoros, Georgia, and Mexico focused on domestic audiences in their respective countries. Facebook views CIB as coordinated efforts to manipulate public debate for a strategic goal, where fake accounts are central to the operation. It says it has been conducting internal investigations for more than 3 years to tackle this issue. The social media site said it identified a network last month that targeted Turkey, Sudan, and Ethiopia and linked it to a marketing firm in Egypt called Be Interactive. The network relied on a combination of authentic, duplicate, and fake accounts and became particularly active in the summer of 2020, the report said. And on the article, it has 3 examples of sites that were identified to be linked to Be Interactive and or the Egyptian government. One of them is called, and they're in Amharic and Arabic, one of them is called Free Ethiopia. All right, so we'll continue to read. The people behind this activity posted in Amharic, Arabic, and Turkish about news and political events in the countries they targeted, including positive commentary about the government of Egypt, Israel-Sudan relations, and criticisms of Turkish foreign policy and Ethiopia's mega dam project, said the report, referring to the Grand Renaissance Dam on the Nile that has been a sticking point in trilateral relations among Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. So, I do think that it's important to note that, one, you can go ahead and read the rest of it on your own. There's just about 1/3. I read about 2/3 of the article. There isn't much left. But, to put things into perspective, whenever you go onto Wikipedia and you try to read about a war of some sort, what you'll see is a list of belligerents and the leaders of those respective belligerents. So when it comes to the belligerents, the organizations and or countries will be listed that are involved in that war, which side they were on, and also the leaders of those sides and of those organizations and countries. So if we can say that about physical wars, then it's probably a thing that we can talk about when it comes to information wars. Make no mistake, when it comes to information war, there are belligerents that should be identified. So in the case of Ethiopia, let's think of the fact that there are some people who have an interest in Ethiopia remaining in chaos. There are people who have an interest in the TPLF. There are people who have an interest in the system that existed before, the way that the system exists now, and there are people that have interests in whatever the new process may or may not be when it comes to Ethiopia, the new climate that may or may not exist when it comes to Ethiopia. And when it comes to that, it's all a matter of making your information valid. It's not about truth. A lot of people get this confused. They confuse validity with truth, when validity is a matter of acceptance. how many people accept this thing as true. And if you can get enough people to accept something as true, then you've basically made that thing a fact, even if it may not be true. And people will base their feelings and their worldviews on this thing. And these organizations, these companies, these political organizations understand this. So it makes it much more difficult to know what the truth is all the time. So that's something to be considered when it comes to this. And when I say that, believe that maybe like the Ethiopian government is really out of its depth when it comes to information wars, especially in this case right now, considering, okay, it has a conflict, it has some conflict or issues with two governments already as it is. Let's just say Sudan and Ethiopia. So you have these two governments being willing to create information, highlight certain information to give an image of Ethiopia. Then you have let's say the TPLF and all of its allies, and its infrastructure. The TPLF should never be looked at as barbaric or unorganized. These are, especially the leaders of this organization are extremely intelligent and well coordinated. So they've positioned themselves. They've done very well to position themselves internationally throughout the past few decades. And then there's the organizations within Ethiopia that are not the TPLF. These other paramilitary / political organizations that have their own information infrastructure, and then you have the Ethiopian government, and then in some cases you have these other states within Ethiopia that have a separate information spreading system that they go ahead and they have at their disposal. So you have all of these competing interests, and the only thing that matters, the only thing that goes a long way is what information you can bring validity to. What information can you make more people aware of? And it's not about truth. So just food for thought. I think that these things should be considered when you read anything, when you see anything. That these things should be considered. It's not just what information you do see when it comes to these information wars. It's also what information is not being allowed to spread. What information are people actively moving against? That this thing should be recognized too. So yeah. If you have any thoughts, if you had to identify all the belligerents that you think are involved, who would you say is involved? Let me know your thoughts and comment down below. Thanks. Peace.